Hello there.
Hello, hello.
Greetings to you. Greetings.
Yeah, lovely to connect. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we hear you, Crystal.
Lovely.
Crystal, you coming in crystal clear. What's going on today?
I just got in from enjoying the sunshine off to the beach after our chat. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the sun is shining out here too. We're in Pasadena, California, so we got a lot of sunlight today. I just took a walk, came back. But you're out in Canada?
In British Columbia, yeah,
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
So sunny in British Columbia today.
It is, yeah, I'm kind of in the south of it, so it's called the Okanagan. It's like we grow fruit here and everything. It gets really hot here in the summer. It's beautiful. Yeah,
You said
lots of lake.
The Okanagan?
Okanagan it's called. Yeah, Okanagan Valley.
Okanagan Valley. What does that mean?
It's just valley, like we've got Okanagan Lake. So Okanagan Lake starts at the one, I don't know how long it is, but yeah, it starts in Vernon where I live, and then it goes all the way to Penticton, and then that's the Okanagan Valley, all those towns in there. It's
Okay.
about,
Okay.
yeah.
And that name, Okanagan, is that like Native American or is it like
Yeah. I actually don't know what Okanagan means. There is another lake called Kalamalka here, and that means Lake of Many Color, which is beautiful.
yes.
Yeah. But there's a myth that there's an Ogopogo in the Okanagan Lake who is that Scottish. It's supposed to be the sister or brother of the Scottish Loch Ness monster. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's a little myth.
Wow, wow. Any heritage or any ties to myths like that?
Um, Not that I'm aware of, no.
The Okana, there was something in the Okanagan Lake that resembled or had some ties to the Loch Ness monster. You're saying there was a myth behind it, the story?
Yeah. Yeah, they call it the Ogopogo.
Ogopogo. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting.
hmm
Yeah, these are like children's stories. They sound like stories that you would gather around a fireplace or something and tell the story of the oak, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So now, do you go by T or do you go by Citrine?
I go by T usually, or you can call me Tora. That's my full name.
Tora. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tora. Yeah.
Tora. And when
Yeah.
did Citrine come into it? Like where did you gravitate towards that name, Citrine Skies? Because that's a very specific crystal, right?
Yeah. Well, citrine is my birthstone. I've always connected with it. I'm a Scorpio. Citrine skies is actually a dimension that I go to, kind of like my happy place, I guess.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've just created a planet or a world that has all my wildest dreams and imagination engulfed in it. And that alone is the vibration that I like to pull through with my work. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And there's so much to unpack just right there. Just the fact that you're a fellow Scorpio, that I'm talking to another Scorpio, we're both Scorpios, and citrine is one of my favorite stones to keep in my pocket. It talks about manifestation, abundance, and I heard that it also is in line with the solar plexus. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. It's our wisdom, our worth. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Wow. So what was the planet that you said that you go to again?
Well, I created it in my imagine. It's called Citrine Skies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And since young, like since a kid?
No, since my awakening, so 8 years. Yeah,
Eight. Wow.
yeah.
8 years ago. What year was that? Wait, so your awakening, that had to be okay, so 10 years ago, 2012. So before 2012. Wow. Wow. So since
I had my son in 2011.
got it.
Um,
Got
yeah, yeah.
it. Oh man. And was that the birth or the genesis of everything that that is now, like that is today with the movement nourishment, the movement medicine, your expression, and your heart activation?
Absolutely. Chills, as you say, all that. I mean, it was a very slow process.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like it's kickstarted in the last 6 years. I've really dived in deep, but from 2011 up until that point, it was a slow process, but I was patient with myself, and that awareness that comes through first is really the first step, and then it takes time to take action on that, right? So, yeah, it was a learning curve. It was hard being a young mom.
What was the toughest part of that integration period, or for you to be able to assimilate that?
Um, I've just always felt really alone, so I guess coming to the acceptance that I'm not alone was really my big epiphany. I did all the law of attraction stuff and learned about Reiki and energy and all that, but I always had a disconnection with God. I had a struggle with that word God. Um, and one day I just broke down and I prayed. I cried out to him, and miracles after that. Miracles.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. So it was only when you broke down, only when that intense emotion, like they say, the feeling is the secret, you know?
hmm
Do you
The
feel
full
like,
surrender. The full surrender, like the letting go of control, like I have to control, the outcome, but really that's not the case at all. It's really just present moment.
mm,
And yeah, releasing that surrender and just having the faith in God that everything's going to be okay. And you know
wow. So when you released that Torah, what was the breakthrough after that breakdown?
my third eye like burst open big time. Yeah. And then yeah, I just all my clairs just also boosted up. um yeah, I don't know.
It feels like it's hard to put it into words sometimes. Yeah.
It is so hard to put into words, and I struggle with my words. I didn't even choose to speak as a child till I was 4 years old. And I grew up in a quite militant home, so lots of rules and quite a sensitive person. So I just really never felt safe to speak. So I just told myself I was a shy person, an introvert.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I'm
No.
not, not at all.
Yeah, definitely resonate. Having both of my parents be, retired military, they were both in the army, and having that structured home with either of them whenever I was with my mom or whenever I was with my father, and then feeling shy as well, feeling like I wasn't as outspoken, but then having to go out on my own, figure out how to be alone without being lonely, and find my own friends. That was kind of my whole deal, my whole spiel at school. And then I ended up, I think, covering certain things with different insecurities that I covered up with comedy, being the class clown and making people laugh and making others feel good. And that sort of played into things. So I can imagine, coming up, what were some of the things that you ran into? Because I remember you talked about at a certain point in your journey, you really had to discover how to set boundaries. That was something.
Mhm. The first boundary was with myself.
Okay.
I used to be an alcoholic. I don't even like to label myself as an alcoholic. It was just an experience that I had. Um, but that was my first one, so with myself. And then once I became content with myself, maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it. Then it came to the relationships, the people in our lives, and those are the hardest ones, but those are the ones we grow from the most. That's why
Right.
we're here.
Right. We
Yeah.
do. We go through what we grow through. Yeah, we certainly do. And, I'm so intrigued as well, Tora, like going back to that third eye opening, like you said, it just burst. Do you remember or recall the feeling you had when that happened?
Yeah, I was outpoured with angels. I saw Archangel Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael. They were just all surrounding me. I could feel, oh, it almost makes me want to cry, like thinking about it. It was so beautiful. And then they gave me wings and told me I was an earth angel here to yeah, it was beautiful.
Um, wow, you're here for a reason. Yes, yes. My goodness. Thank you for
But
sharing that.
yeah, it took time from that, like to, I couldn't really share that with anyone for a long time because I didn't want to seem like I was crazy or, put in a box or, so, you know,
Right.
that even took time to fully embrace. Yeah.
Wow. So Tora, you would say you kept that to yourself for quite a long time?
Yeah, you can probably relate. We're kind of secretive, and until I feel like the space is safe, then that's when I'll share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I can only imagine. There have been so many times in my life where I was envious or even jealous of my friends and different people who would tell me that they had lucid dreams or they had third eye awakenings, openings, or even astral projections, and I didn't feel that same connection or even reflection with another to be able to have these seemingly like fantastical abilities and make them real for me in my physical reality. So just to be able to hear from your experience, it lets me know that this is possible. If it's possible for one, then it's possible for anybody, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had those dreams too. I was watching people speak light language and I just thought it was so beautiful and I just wanted to do it so bad. But it was that force, like it was that desire. If you're holding on to it, there's something in you telling you that you're not good enough or you're not worthy of it, right? So completely letting go and knowing that it's true, it eventually just flows, right?
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
We so that's crucial. We have to let go in order to let in, you know.
Yeah.
in- in.
Which
Yeah.
is so hard. Yeah.
It can definitely be tough, It can be challenging. It can be challenging to let go when we want to hold on. And speaking of the light language, you're saying that it was in dreams that you encountered this before you started doing it on your own?
The light language?
Yeah.
I've found it on YouTube. This amazing Elle Soul Stars. I'll shout her out. She's just incredible. Um, I don't think that's actually Soul Star or something. Anyway, um, yeah, I just fell in love with her and I joined her Patreon and was engulfed in her meditation. Still am part of her community. She's so lovely. And yeah, I just wanted to do that so bad. But there's other forms of light language, and it comes through more my physical body and my movement. And I realize that now that the voice will come and it has come, but I haven't fully integrated the the throat chakra, I guess, for that to come through. But yeah, light language flows through your body, through movement. It's comes through your eyes and your energetic vibration, that when you're connecting with somebody, it's not just put in a little box. You can draw it, you can sing it, it's magic.
Right. It
Yeah.
transcends language.
Hmm.
It's transcendent. And
Yeah.
Laura, what would you even call it? Like if you could call it a form, what form would you call it? Because we have things that we would call an art form, we have things that we would call skills or gifts or talents, or abilities. What would you call light language?
That's a good question. Connection. Yeah. It's your soul's, it's in your soul, it's in your heart. It's not understood. Yeah, when you deeply, deeply connect to that aspect of you, then it flows through. Yeah.
So it's a
connection.
soul connection, connection on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Because, like you say, there's different forms. There's like, the form where we're speaking light language, and then you're also doing it with different, it seems like the transmissions and the activations and even the clearings that when you're moving, that you're really like that energy, you know?
Hmm.
And
And Qigong helped me with that, feeling
okay,
the energy and getting connected for sure. Because
okay.
meditation is so hard for me to just sit there, and I couldn't do it. Like I needed to move my body. And then when I discovered Qigong, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because it's slow, solid movements, teaching you to connect with your life force, your own energy system.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a huge stepping stone to understanding your own vibration.
Wow. So Qigong became like the perfect blend of movement and stillness, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So like that moving meditation. I love it, finding movement and stillness. Yes. Yeah. And how long have you been practicing Qigong?
Um, about 6 years, like since like my calling to since my prayer to God. Yeah, and then that popped up, I think, and like YouTube always does wonders for me. I don't know, I love it. In the news feed, it just pops up the perfect videos for me. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
good. Yeah, the algorithm, when it's on our side, it's really
yeah.
good. Really good. Yeah. Wow, Tora, one of my friends told me that you will find your calling or your vocation when your greatest gladness meets one of the world's greatest needs, you know? So, how would you find like a calling or a purpose, this thing that people seem to be looking for, or this thing that people seem to be discovering or uncovering? What would you call that?
I would call that detachment.
Okay.
I've been there. We don't have to seek anything. We already are.
Mm-hmm.
You just be you, do you, and follow that joy, that love in every moment, you know? That's what we're here to do. It's not a chore. It's just whatever brings us joy and peace and love, follow that, you know?
Right, right.
And
Follow.
your purpose will come, but really that is your purpose, right? Because if you're living your highest self, it's going to emanate on anybody else that you bump into, right? And that alone might be your purpose, or laughter might be your purpose, or right? It's not necessarily you have to be somebody big or some guru or some teacher. I think a lot of people think that, right?
Right,
But
right.
yeah, it's simplicity.
Beautiful. There's so much beauty in simplicity, It comes so
Yeah.
simple. Yeah. And you said that you went through that as well, Tora. Like, could you talk about how you went through the complexities of those concepts, and the thought process of needing to do something or needing to be someone or needing to have some, definite purpose instead of just that detachment, as you say.
Well, for me, it came down to going back to, childhood and having, my parents wanting me to be a certain way and, want to have a direction for me and always feeling like I needed to please them, you know, and show them that I am doing my greatest. And yeah, I got sidetracked there. Yeah, disconnecting from that and just going back to myself and following my truth and knowing that I don't need to please anybody. The right people are going to fall into place, right? So,
Right, right. Yeah. It's like when they say that when things fall apart, they're really just falling together, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. And as well, the pleasing the parents and that whole deal, because what has the impact of your son, and what is your son's name, Tora?
Dylan.
Dylan. And Dylan's around like what, 11, 12?
Yeah, 11.
11. Awesome. So how has raising Dylan, factored into that and really changed your thought process around that, or even caused you to be able to contemplate or reflect, you know?
He's my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
That's why children are here, for real. Like, he is my greatest teacher. Um, I basically started reparenting like the 6 years ago again, was like a real restructure in my parenting.
Mm.
And I really looked at myself and saw that a lot of, my parents were coming through, like having just strict order for him and no, this is what we're going to do right now, or quickly, we have to get to this place. We're in a hurry, when he just wanted to stop and smell the flowers, right?
Mm.
So he just really helped me just bring me back into a place of presence, right? And finding the joy and just slowing down and appreciating the little things.
Yes.
And then, you know, they test you like crazy, right? So it's, yeah, my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that, I remember one of my good friends, actually, my cousin, he has 4 children, and he told me that one time he had a talk with his son, and he was, implementing this discipline over some area that his son had done something, and he wanted to teach his son something. And he said that he sat his son down on the couch next to him, and he said, son, what you did, and this and that, and let me explain to you why we don't do this. And he said that in that moment, Torah, it was as if a light opened up. It was as if like a light shone down on the moment between them two. And he realized as he was teaching his son that those were the very things he needed to learn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That we teach what we must learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. Yeah. And it's funny, we don't need to do that. Like, just for example, my son washes the dishes, right? And I could nag at him to keep doing the dishes, or I could just leave it and let it pile up and it'll get worse for him. And, so I chose to do that. And then he goes, you know what, Mom? I don't like doing this many dishes. I think I'm going to do them every day after school. Like, he came to the realization himself by having too much work to do, right? Really, just us, we just need to be supportive of them and just hold space for them. But they got it all figured out. You have to make your own mistakes to grow, right? And if we don't let them make mistakes, then yeah.
Wow, the greatest teacher. I love that, Tor. Like you said, being able to slow down, to stop and smell the roses, to see the finer things in life, to be in the present moment. That's the gift. That's the gift.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that's it for me. Presence. It's all I choose to focus on. Yeah.
Yeah. And have you ever noticed any of the ways that he interacts with you that you interacted with your parents when you were younger?
Yeah. And it still shows. We still got work to do. But yeah, big time. Yeah. More so little idiocracies and whatnot, but yeah, I have PTSD, so I still struggle with some things here and there. I have my moments, so, and of course he witnesses that. So, yeah.
I noticed you had a dog as well. Is that right?
I have 2 dogs and a cat.
Oh, 2 dogs and a cat. Okay.
Mhm.
There was one in one of your videos you were doing your movement nourishment, your movement medicine, and then you almost stumbled on the dog and you said, "Oops!" And then you just
Yeah.
went to your dog. Which dog was that?
That's Nacho.
Nacho.
Yeah.
Nacho. And you saw that all was forgiven. All was well. In just within the moment that you stumbled on Nacho, he forgave you already. It was.
Yeah. Children are like that too, We don't have to hold on to those things. Like, just let it go. It's okay. It happened. Be compassionate with yourself. It's okay. Yeah. And then that love poured right in, and then we danced together, I think. Yeah.
Would you say dancing is one of the best, I guess, modalities or way to let things go, to like get things off of the body by moving the body?
For me, just because I've never felt safe in my voice, for example, yeah, like just movement comes naturally to me. I move even if there's no music. It's just how I'm a feeler, a clairsentient, and yeah, it just helps to move the energies, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So learning through feeling, that clairsentience. I always wondered about which one of the clairs that I might be when it comes to I love listening to, pleasing tones, even having pleasing, pleasurable conversations. So I was thinking, is it clairaudience? I like listening to audiobooks, I like listening to music, or is it, you know, how would somebody really tap into their clair or to know which clair was always there?
Um, Again, that like that going back to surrender and just you can ask, but not you don't want to attach to what you think it might be, right? So just really detaching in that moment, and it might be through movement that you get that download or whatever, or it could be through automatic writing or meditation. I mean, everybody's different, right? We have our own way of transforming, this frequency to share. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't really know how I came to the realization. Like, I would say my strongest clairs are clairsentience and claircognizance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Claircognizance is probably the hardest one to accept.
Why?
Um, the clear knowing, like just you have no proof, which is we we're humans, we all need proof and facts, right? So yeah, I guess just letting go of that distortion and just trusting your intuition and knowing that you know.
You know. When you know, you know. I love it.
You know. Yeah.
I love it. Wow. Tora, what would you say when it comes to the light transmissions, the light codes, the light language, and being in service, you know? What has been some of the greatest or one of the greatest compliments that you've ever received from someone on that receiving end?
Oh gosh, I've met so many amazing people on Instagram here, and they just fill my cup. And every time I feel like I look stupid or, it wasn't edited right or whatever, I'm quite novice with technology. So I have a lot of insecurities in that aspect. And yeah, just people calling me a shaman, a goddess, a beautiful healer. It's just like, I don't know if that's an ego fill, but man, it fills my cup. It feels good and it keeps me motivated and going. Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. So it encourages you to continue. It's empowering.
Yeah, and seeing other brothers and sisters doing the same thing, it really helps me not feel so alone. Because when I first started doing all those hand movements, like I knew I felt something from it, but would other people, and
Right.
that's something I really had to let go of too,
Right.
is that I am powerful and I am here to help people. And yeah.
Yeah. And even with the people that fill your cup, with those comments, with those compliments, and just with that acknowledgement, as they're empowering you, do you feel how you also empower them through what you do?
Yeah, I do. That's kind of just coming in recently, that part of it. But yeah, I do.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Nice.
So it's only recently that you're kind of going into that or growing into that?
Yeah, well, my Instagram's been very slow. I feel like I'm shadow banned. Like every time I try to post, your video can't be posted, or it turns up black, or I can't edit it. Like it's problem after problem. Um, but my YouTube has really blown up recently, and I'm feeling I'm feeling like, okay, you are on the right track here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The light always finds a way. you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, the people who are looking, they'll always find you, you know.
For sure. Yeah. And I just have to trust, just
Yeah,
trust the process and
yeah.
mhm.
That's another letting go. Great point. Great point, Tora, because being able to just do what you do, express, the best way that we know how, and leave the rest up to the forces, like up to whatever it is, let it take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a journey of letting go. That's basically what it all is. Yeah.
All
And
around.
just coming back to you know, your light, your how you were as an infant, before you were bombarded with all these distortions and programs and rules and obligations and
Hmm.
overconsumption and
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's been a journey of letting go. And, I'm also curious about when it comes to feeling energy and when it comes to how some people say they don't feel anything or they feel like it's a belief system and they don't agree with other people, even people who are doing Qigong and they can really perceive and feel energy on a palpable level. Is it faith that you feel takes someone beyond that realm of belief or beyond the barriers in their own mind? Or what is it that gets someone from here to there?
It's all faith. It's all
Yeah.
trust.
Okay.
Yeah. Belief.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I remember just standing there. Like, my favorite Qigong is one of my mentors. His name is Elitam Melamin. And he does this standing like a tree. Well, he'll just stand there, you know? And he'll just go to different positions and different, movements. And then when I started to feel the energy, and I started to feel like I was bringing in energy from around me, from like nature, being in nature, tapping into something that I had never felt before, that I was really developing a relationship with my surroundings and my environment. It was surreal. It's like, what? This was always available? Like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so important to connect with your land and where you are. So many of us take it for granted and just that it doesn't take long either. Just, put your bare feet on the ground and have a few breaths with Mother Nature and a little bit of gratitude for being here on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw in one post you put that you called it Mama Gaia. Mama Gaia.
Hmm. Yeah, I call her Mama. I say, thank you, Mama. Yeah.
Yeah. So how has that relationship with nature, grown over the years, and what has it shown you, that you've learned or that you have today that you might not have had something deeper at this point?
Well, it's just helped me bring me back to peace, I guess. Nature doesn't need to try. It grows when it needs to grow. It, you know, if you cut it down, it will come back, like it's resilient. Um, it's peaceful, it's vibrant, I just love nature. Like I'm really connected with nature and animals. I like talking to trees and
Hmm.
flowers and stuff. Yeah.
Do you have a spirit animal, Tora?
I would say a fox or a tiger.
Oh, come on! Come on! Why are we so alike? Like, why?
Are those yours too?
A fox is mine. It's mine, yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you say fox?
Why did I say fox?
Yeah.
They're mischievous, playful. Um, what else? I don't know. My dog reminds me of a fox a lot. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're agile, they're kind of sneaky. Yeah, I don't know. I just love foxes. Yeah. I don't know if it is my spirit animal, but I just love them. Yeah.
There's a story of I'm sure you've heard of the fox and the grapes. I just read this story the other day. You've heard of that one?
Mhm. The Fox and the Grapes?
Yeah, you've heard that one?
I don't think so, no.
So there's a story, I just read this the other day, because there's a book I got called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. It's a phenomenal book. If you've ever read it, it's a short read. It's kind of like a children's book, but it's all ages. Like all ages can gain wisdom from this book. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. But there's a story about the fox and the grapes. And a fox was coming up in this forest, and he looked over yonder, and there was like a tree or a tree with grapes on it or something hanging from these branches, these grapes. And so the fox, tried to scurry up the tree and get the grapes, and it couldn't do it. And then it jumped and tried to grab the grapes, and it couldn't do it. And then one more time it tried to jump with its mouth and catch the grapes, and it couldn't do it. And then finally it gave up, and it said, "Oh, they're probably sour anyways," and it walked away. And so, there's
That
different
really.
to that story. And one of them is like, don't give up so easily. Just because you can't, attain something that you desire doesn't mean that it's undesirable, or, doesn't mean that it's sour or something just because you can't grab it. But also there is, I guess, a message of detachment. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe those grapes weren't for me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe those grapes weren't my grapes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Because with desire, that's kind of like the whole thing with surrounding Scorpios. The very desire, passion-filled, ambition. And can you see a parallel, Tora, when it comes to wanting those grapes or wanting something that you discovered, you know what? It's not for me, and I'm okay. That's okay.
Yeah, just the acceptance
Mhm.
and surrender again. But maybe it is for you, it's just not your time too, So you
Okay.
don't, yeah, you might not necessarily need to like completely think that it's never going to happen. It could
Right.
happen.
Right.
Maybe just now isn't the right time.
So there is something about divine timing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is so hard, we want to control our lives and structure it out in a way, but it's all planned out for us. It's going to come when it's meant to, when we're ready.
Hmm. Yeah. And you talked before, Tor, about you actually did all the stuff when you talked about the law of attraction. You said you went through the rigmarole of like the learning all about the laws, and I'm sure you've watched The Secret as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like kind of a Kickstarter, I guess reframing the brain and the mental body. But I mean, that takes a long time, which is okay, also accepting that it does click eventually. There is a moment where it's just like, boom, we got it. We
Mhm.
don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, what would you say has been, when it comes to your biggest takeaway of this theme surrounding the law of attraction, and how people say it's a law, like the law of gravity or like the law of, polarity and all these laws. But if these laws are already in governance, or being able to use the law and not be used by the law, how do you find that balance with all these, things hanging in the air?
Well, I feel like I've actually really detached from the law of attraction
Okay.
within the last few years. Nothing wrong with it. It definitely helped me. But for me personally, it was just that desire that it wasn't here. I wasn't good enough. It wasn't worthy. It's not here yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then I learned about the law of assumption.
Ooh,
Are
what's
you
that?
familiar with this? Neville Goddard, the
Okay.
law of assumption. And basically, what's very similar, but basically, you're assuming that it is true. So it's more the I am presence, I guess I would compare it to, instead of saying, um, I want to be a Reiki healer, right? I dream of being a Reiki healer. You are. I am. That's what I am already. And just accepting that and diving into the belief and the truth that it's there,
Hmm. I like that. The law of assumption.
Yeah. Like assume that like it's our God-given right to have whatever we want on this planet, We're creator beings, we create with our vibration. Why can't you have it, right?
Right.
Instead of reaching for that vibration, we have to be that vibration and it comes to you by
Mm.
assuming, yeah, like I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. Well, the money flows through it. It happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Automatically, without effort. Yeah.
I don't know how, but it works. Like it still blows my mind sometimes, but it's crazy. It
Mm.
works. Yeah.
Wow. And you reminded me, is the I am presence, is that like Saint Germain? Is that like those, the ascended masters are like, what is it? Nisar Gadatta Maharaj, the I am that, or the I am presence?
Hmm. I don't know if I can go that deep into it. I can just really express my feeling with it. But yeah, like just when I claim that I am, I just get such a different feeling from it, and it just, yeah, it helped me to believe that it was true, I guess, to break through that barrier.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. The I am, when you talk about I am Torah, one of my friends told me that I am is an acronym and it stands for intention, action, manifestation. You know,
Ooh, that's cool.
I am. And when you put those three letters together, I am, whatever you put after that, inevitable. It's inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're putting out your intention, you're putting out that action, and then that manifestation is just like magnetically attracted to your gravitational pull. It's like you are it. So it's like there's
absolutely. So it has to come to you. It's how it works. Yeah, it can't not. Yeah.
it can't not. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say is more powerful in your experience when it comes to that I am, the writing things, because I know you did journaling, the speaking things when it comes to our throat chakra, or just the thinking things?
Oof, all of it. But I'm going to add one more on there. Um, Looking at yourself in the mirror.
Oh, talk about it.
That would go like I would relate that to my self-love journey.
Mm.
I used to like hate myself. I really struggled with suicide, depression, body dysmorphia, like you name it. I absolutely hated myself. And I, without knowing it, was doing this in the mirror. I was affirming it. I was getting ready in the bathroom saying, "You're ugly," like you got pimples on your face, you're worthless, like just garbage stuff, right? And then I don't know why I started doing it in my healing, but I just started talking into the mirror again. But instead, I was choosing words of love. And it felt so uncomfortable at first. Like I cried. I didn't believe it. I was like, why am I telling myself I love myself when I hate myself, right? But I pushed through and I continued to do it. And, look at my body in the mirror. In any form, even if I had greasy hair or whatever, being still grateful for myself in that moment. And again, one day it just clicked and I loved myself. Like I could look in the mirror and actually say I love you with joy in my heart. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's emotional. That's
Yeah.
emotional.
It was very emotional in the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Wow, wow. Ah, man, you're just giving me flashbacks. It's it's crazy. It's really crazy how the mind, our perception, self-image, self-worth, self-value, self-love. It's so important.
It's so important. Yeah. It's the root of it all. You know, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else, right? It all comes down to you at
Yeah.
the end of the day. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Whew. Wow. I needed to let that marinate, you know. Thank you for
Well,
sharing.
I'm having like a deja vu, like we've done this before. I just gotta,
You think?
I was, I don't know. I just feel like I've done this before. I don't know if I had I don't know. It's just a weird feeling right there.
Synchronicity. Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a serendipity in the air, for sure.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe it's a taste of things to come or a taste of things that once have been, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
lad that.
I love deja.
Definitely help clearing my throat chakra, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad. You know, there was a cat in the newest Matrix movie, and the cat's name was Deja Vu. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like every time he had a feeling, you know, Neo had a feeling like, wait a minute, haven't I been here before? That cat would just come walking in the room, you know?
Yeah. For the confirmation, yeah. I've yet to see that.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm Yeah. Oh, Tora, thank you so much for just being. Thank you for, you know, just expressing yourself, you know, in the best ways that you know how, in all the ways that you do, in all your reels, in the way that you feel, in the way that you just, you know, effortlessly give your authenticity and your artistry to the world, you know, and you do it not only for yourself, but other people are receiving that energy as well with the activations, with the light codes. And this conversation has been so filling, so nourishing. Please let people, if they've just found you for the first time, if they're their first time witnessing you, know where they can go to find you and what services you have to provide. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for reaching out. This has been really lovely connecting with you. And your energy is just, it almost makes me want to laugh. Like you just bring a joy and vibrancy to the air.
I'm glad.
Um, I am on Instagram, obviously, and YouTube. It's the same at Citrine Skies. My YouTube is more directed for an ASMR Reiki healing session based, longer videos. Whereas my Instagram, I do so more the embodied movement and flow. As far as my services, I have a link tree and my profile on both. Sessions. Are we frozen here?
No, 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 no. We're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Um, and a one-on-one container as well if somebody is just not really sure where to start and they just feel like they want a safe space to talk. Yeah, what else? I do make jewelry as well. I make pendants. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you have your own creations and you also hold that space, you hold that container for people who will schedule you. So people can book through your link on your bio there.
Yes, yes. And other than the one-on-one session, all my other ones are pre-recorded videos, which might be strange to some, but I find I actually connect a lot deeper. I'll spend about 15, 20 minutes before the recording and just connect to your energy field. And then we move along with the recorded session. And it's a lot more than what you would think. They're pretty powerful. I put a lot of time and effort into each session. So
I'm sure, you know,
yeah.
you just even off of just the video that I watched right before we started this, I was going through your catalog and I saw one of the activations that you did is the one that I took the screenshot of, the still photo of you know, just connecting to that heart space. And the energy that you put into that video is still there. You know, it's still rippling out. It's like you created a time capsule, you know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
So thank you so much for just being here once again, and I trust that this won't be the last time we hear from you. Yeah.
no way. So lovely connecting with you. Thank you.
Right, right. You
Yeah.
take care.
Yeah. Take care.
Awesome, awesome. Blessings, y'all. Blessings. Thank y'all for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go follow Citrine Skies. You already know why. Much love.